Hey guys, how's it going? Today I wanted to chat about next week's main event. Now, obviously, I'm referring to Belal Muhammad versus Leon Edwards 2 for the welterweight title. It's been a long time coming, man, and this is a rematch if you guys did not know somehow. Now, I know a lot of people aren't too hyped about it, but I kind of get why. And personally, I'm not too excited about it either, but I am looking forward to it because this is more exciting than anything we've been getting in the MMA scene lately. And I will add this fight has a pretty interesting backstory. As I mentioned, it's a rematch, so these guys have faced off before. They fought back in 2021 at a UFC fight night. Originally, Leon was supposed to fight Hamza, but Hamza had to pull out due to COVID, if I remember correctly. Belal Muhammad had to step in short notice, and the fight didn't last too long though. It went only for 2 rounds because Leon accidentally eye poked Belal so badly that his eye started bleeding and Belal couldn't see anymore. Now, I will add that was probably the most aggressive performance we've ever seen from Leon. Like, normally Leon likes to coast and hit you from the outside because he's a phenomenal sniper and usually doesn't pressure his opponents as much. But for some odd reason, on that night, he did not care. The dude just pressured Belal Muhammad, and Leon was landing some good hits, man. He even landed that head kick, you know, the one that he would eventually win the title with, you know, when he knocked out Kamaru Usman, but somehow Belal took that. Now, everyone's saying that Leon completely dominated the first fight and won every exchange in that fight, and I get why people think that. He was winning most of the exchanges, but what people often forget is that Belal stepped in on short notice without a proper training camp. And one thing that this fight showed us is that we got to see a glimpse of how their styles match up. So while many assume that Leon will dominate the rematch, I think it's important to consider the full context. It's definitely possible, but it's not a sure thing. It's not like a guaranteed prediction, I would say. And I don't want to change the subject, but I just want to mention this really quick. I'm honestly just happy to see Belal finally get his title shot. I think he deserved this opportunity for a while now, man. I actually feel bad for him because he gets so much hate. I get that his fighting style might be boring or that he takes all his opponents to decision. And yeah, he can be a bit cringy, but if I'm going to be real with you guys, he kind of grew on me. And I think it would be crazy if he somehow won the belt. And it would be kind of an awesome moment, you know? With all that being said, in this rematch, both fighters will be more prepared since they know what to expect from each other. Belal will have a proper training camp this time and won't be coming in as a last-minute replacement. As a fighter, Belal has evolved significantly, and obviously you can say the same thing about Leon. We're going to see the best version of both Leon Edwards and Belal Muhammad in this fight. And look, man, I used to think Belal wasn't that good, but he's proven himself with a solid resume, man. And look, man, when you break it down, Leon Edwards is clearly the better striker. This was evident in their first fight. Even if Belal had a solid camp this time, Leon still holds the striking advantage. No one is beating Leon anytime soon. His understanding of distance and range is unmatched in his division. The only 2 fighters I could see beating Leon is either Shavkat Rakhmonov and maybe JDM. Maybe. Those 2 can be a huge threat. But if Leon steps on the gas like he did in the very first Belal fight, I think everyone else is getting dominated. And look, man, you might not like his fighting style, which I can understand. Leon's style is really boring, but it's effective. And I feel like if you like high-level striking, I feel like you'll be entertained from his striking, man, because Leon is an incredible fighter. But he's a slow fighter and tends to employ a strategy similar to what Adesanya's been using for some time. They both focus on avoiding unnecessary damage, which is smart. So I kind of expect Leon to land a bunch of leg kicks and land on top every so often on the feet. You know, he's not going to take any risk in any way. I just don't see it happening. But if anything, I think this fight is going to look a lot like Leon Edwards versus Kamaru Usman 3. In that fight, Leon was throwing combinations while switching stances. He moves back and forth from southpaw to orthodox almost in mid-combination, and he does amazing combos. He was cutting angles off the cage, and Usman was having a hard time taking Leon down and imposing his will. And I do think it might be a rinse and repeat of that fight with Belal Muhammad, since Belal's striking isn't really the greatest. And just like Usman, he does rely on his wrestling for majority of his fights. And I feel like Leon has proven that he is the perfect anti-wrestler, and obviously he's just a good grappler in general too. And I'm just calling it. It would not surprise me if Leon somehow took down Belal. In fact, I'm kind of expecting at least one takedown. Either it's from the clinch or something. I mean, this is the same guy who took down Kamaru Usman and Kobe Covington. And the same thing can be said about Leon in the clinch, man. This dude is dangerous. He has those razored elbows that he did land on Usman. And let's not forget what he did to Gunnar Nelson with those things, man. And Leon has the wrestling defense to survive majority of the wrestling exchanges. We've seen Leon get taken down multiple times, and he's always able to get up, especially on the cage. And if you didn't know, Leon pretty much is about to have 4 training high-level wrestling camps back to back. So I do expect Leon Edwards' wrestling defense to be at its very best. That's why I personally don't think that this fight won't be close, because the only way Belal can win is on the feet. And if I could be real with you, Belal is nothing special when it comes to his stand-up. Even if Belal takes Leon down, I don't see Belal landing any significant ground and pound or doing any submission attempts. He doesn't even try to go for submissions, actually. He's unlikely to do anything too impactful. Leon has figured out how to counter fighters like Belal, wrestler fighters. I just see Leon getting back up and winning round by round through damage. Sure, Belal might land some hits, and hell, he might even take Leon down, but he probably won't do anything too noteworthy. Plus, he doesn't have any knockout power. He doesn't have the power of someone like Usman, who could potentially do something in there and knock out his opponent. But to be fair, neither fighter has knockout power. But I mean specifically from Belal. The guy couldn't even drop Sean Brady. I mean, he did TKO Sean Brady, but it was a standing TKO. And I believe he's never got a knockdown in his career. He hasn't dropped anybody, which is crazy to say. Now, with all that being said, you're probably wondering if Belal Muhammad can win. Now, of course it's possible, but I think he needs to pressure Leon right from the start, use a lot of volume, and try to overwhelm him with boxing. Leon is very good defensively, which is what I mentioned earlier, but Belal will need to mix things up and grapple against the cage and go for takedowns, attempt to land some ground and pounds. He needs to outwork Leon to wear him out and aim for that unanimous decision. Or Belal can try this option, but it's even more risky. He needs to adopt an aggressive strategy against Leon, similar to his approach against Sean Brady, aiming for a knockout, although it will be undoubtedly challenging. Since Belal doesn't really have any knockout power, but he can always try to box in the inside, he has potential to succeed because Leon has been caught twice in the inside. And if Belal can catch Leon, I think that's his other best shot of winning this fight. Now, do I think that Belal can win this with either of those game plans? Yes, it's entirely possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think Belal is too slow and too easy to hit. I want to give credit where it's due, but Belal hasn't fought anyone like Leon, and I personally believe that Leon is a nightmare matchup for Belal Muhammad. And if this fight goes to decision, which it's most likely going to go to, by the way, I just think that Leon is going to win. And to be real with you, the fight's going to be really boring. Really boring. Probably not the worst fight of all year, but I feel like it's going to be very uneventful. Plus, Leon is just hitting his prime as a fighter at 32, while Belal is already 36. But who knows, maybe Belal Muhammad is going to surprise us all and somehow get the knockout. Anything can happen in this sport, but like I said, my gut is just telling me Leon Edwards. But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And like always, guys, I'll see you guys on my next one.